Hi, good evening, LinkedIn. Dave Wilson of the Ring of Hire Show, and you know who's back. How you doing, Jessica?
Hey everyone. Hi David. How you doing?
Ooh, I don't know. After this subject we're going to talk about tonight, I'll ask you how you're doing. Okay, how's that?
Right. I think we can both
All right, all right.
calm
So,
down for that.
all right. So it's about narcissists, everybody. But you know the deal. We'll be right back after this video.
I love that
I I,
image. I
I
just
still
love
watch it. No
it.
matter how many times I watch it, watch it, and I feel my heart pound on every single one because that's my life. It's like bam, every single thing there. Did that skip? Did that sound like it skipped the video? Did you hear it
I
in the beginning?
didn't hear it, but
Okay, I'll have to see afterwards.
visually it's just impactful.
Yeah, it's the second time I've heard that, and I'm like, why is it skipping? It's a video. So anyway, how's everything going? Good in your world?
Yeah, I've been busy networking, so I had a long day, but I'm looking forward to this topic. You've been doing
Uh,
some research.
it is.
I wonder, like, what made you pick this topic, if I may ask?
Well, yeah. Well, last was about almost 2 years ago. I did a show on it, and I just put narcissist, right? I put it on there and did the picture, and I forget who did it with me. There was a young lady, somebody. I will have to look back. Did it with me, and I'll tell you what. When I really did a lot of shows, it was really, man, the participation was there. It was really, the comments were coming. Well, God, I'll tell you, whenever you said a narcissist, I swear to God, I'm not joking. You probably over 80 something women had chimed in on everything. And
Wow.
I was like, "This is one hell of a topic," but then there was 2 guys talking about it that kinda knew that they did some research on it, but whatever it is, I whenever I say narcissist, women just shake their heads because after learning all this for a second time, I'll tell you what, I mean, we're gonna talk about, like, narcissists in the workplace, but there's really no difference of narcissists in a relationship because, it all these different traits we're gonna talk about is is on both sides of the fence.
Right, and it knows no gender either, I think.
Yeah,
Um,
and,
but I'm surprised at the turnout that you got more um, more interest from women than
well,
men.
that's what I wanted to ask you, but let's see. Oh, we got Kenny. Oh my God, Kenny is in the house. Look at that, Kenny. He's finally works. That's because of the new software, Kenny. That's why. Savor the flavor. You
Hey
know,
Ken.
yeah, Kenny will love to chime in on this subject because I want to hear his on this. But anyway, my question to you, the first one I thought about for narcissists learning all this stuff is it is majority of men over almost close to 85 to 90% of narcissists in the workplace or even as a narcissist is men.
Interesting. Well, I
And
mean, I imagine it's because of the dynamic of power, right?
yeah, but I thought in today's world that would change. Hey, women, the different things in women. But I was like, wow, but everything that I kept reading, and I was thinking, it's got to be. I mean, there are women with the same thing, and it's probably the same thing with a lot of stress. But it seems like there's a lot of that in the marriage, And like I said, I'm trying to say narcissists at work and narcissists at home. You might as well say, but it's as we go through this, I can't believe how it's the same thing over and over and over about everything about a narcissist. Have you ever known one in your life? See?
That's a
See, that's
loaded
what I'm talking about.
question.
That is exactly what I'm talking about, how you answered that, right?
Of
I can see it on
course,
your
of
face.
course.
Yeah.
but again, like I said, like I've had it both in men and in women. It just depends on your personality type. I feel like it's more dominant people are like that.
Well, they
Can't help
said,
it.
no, I love how you brought that up because of my first slide here, right? There's so many different types of I'm sorry, types of in business that attract narcissists in the work and different fields. So I'm going to go through them. We're going to go through them, and then I want you to bring us some stuff here. But the one of them, it says they're narcissists are a lot in the entertainment industry. Okay, they're
I think you have to be, yeah.
yeah, it's actors, musicians, entertainers often seek public attention and validation. And that word, I've never realized how much we're going to talk about that tonight. Validation and public attention, who can attract narcissists, individuals who thrive on admiration. So makes sense, I guess. There, you know.
Yeah.
All right, we got Peter. Is that Mo, Mofer, right? Mofer Peter.
Hello, Peter. I was actually looking at Margaret's question. Ackroyd. I like
Oh,
her last
already.
name.
Okay, yeah. Welcome.
Yeah.
Is that Mofer? Yeah, Peter. Okay. All right, you want to read that? Let's see.
I'm curious to know about the best escape strategy if the narcissist is in a position of power over a new job hire in a terrible job market. I love that question because that's the approach I was taking in this topic, like thinking of ways as an HR professional to kind of nip that in the bud in the workforce. And there are definitely ways, and I guess we'll be talking about that too, right, Dave?
Right. Yeah, and that's definite. And again, these kind of questions for me, and it's just like you said. So I am curious to know about escaping strategy in a position or of power over a new job. Wow, that is because, and that's part of one of the things we're going to talk about here is in the workplace how to deal with one, how you have to learn. Some people have to learn how to work with one, and I had to at one point in my career, and I've only had one. I thought micromanager. I've had one of them, but I didn't realize there is a difference between a micromanager and a narcissist. It's
100%.
two different things. And when I finally had my first narcissist, um, I finally realized like, wow, that's what they mean by it. Like it was just that personality of him. No matter what you did, no matter what you said, there was times where he was happy, good moods. There was the bad moods. There was the times to where it was all his fault, your fault. It just in a job and you're stuck. I think even like she said, in a new job, I can't even imagine that because you're the stress of just getting a job, you know, and then getting to deal with that. How the hell do you even deal with that being new with HR, even going to them?
Right. I think it goes with, emotional intelligence. If, you can build systems where HR should build systems where that kind of behavior doesn't thrive. And that's kind of like the bird's eye view, right, of how to fix it. But definitely, I would talk to HR and try to, you know, have that collaboration
Right.
just to get support, because you do need support, right? And if
For
you
that.
don't want to seem like the tattletale, of course, but so that's another step that you could do. But one that I would do is I would try to figure out their language, their communication language, whether it's data, whether it's visual and creative, and then kind of try to flip it in a way that they'll understand depending on their um, you know personality type,
The
what they're
personality, because
right.
I can imagine that takes a lot of work and like to address it, like they were saying, recognize the patterns of behavior. Like you said, the patterns are one of the biggest thing. And this is how they say to prepare to take it to HR. And it's saying recognize the patterns of behavior, consistent manipulation or deceit. That's a powerful word. Deceit.
Yeah, that's why HR needs to nip that in the bud real quick.
But
Is
what
like
is in your what does deceit mean towards like a narcissist? Like I get it of consistent manipulation. That means that person's on you, right about something. He's on your ass or whatever they're on you, and you're trying to figure out how to deal with it. But what does it mean deceit to the person? That's what I'm
and
trying
you're
to figure.
saying deceit, right? Like
It
to
says
lie.
deceit.
Yeah. Well,
Deceit.
I'm, for from the one end of the spectrum, you have those people that like use other people's work and say that it's theirs, right? That's like an extreme.
Right.
But it could be anything of, oh, like building a gossip in the company. Oh, you know what
Oh,
I saw
deceit. Okay, I
Jessica
see what you're
do,
saying.
just
All
to
right.
make the attention on that person that's giving the gossip, right, and make the other one look bad.
That makes
So there's so
that makes
much.
sense on that part, and then, let's see, Margaret
If you're a
Ackroyd, if you are a
contractor and
contractor
cannot
and
go
you
to
cannot go. Wow, that's
wow,
Margaret, to
that's a good
me,
question.
listen, I guess it's because I've dealt with one before, and I told myself that I will never, ever, ever, ever go through that again. I will never. I will nip that in the butt right away so fast to where if you don't, you're going to be asking questions like this, and it's not fair whether it's a contractor, because the employer there, I feel, hey, you're allowing that. First of all, anything in the workplace, you are allowing it. And I don't know how you would, we talk about workplace culture, and how you research a company. How do you research a boss? How do you research
Yes.
a new person at your work that you're going for? How do you say, besides when you first start that first day and you got your coworkers coming up, don't go around this person at 9 o'clock in the morning? I'm telling you, you know what I mean?
No, I totally get it.
And these are the kind of things that it says to write down, that you need to keep track of everything for HR to be able to prepare yourself to go there. Because I think if you just go, listen, I'd be all over the place if I didn't write stuff down now, because you really want to have all these examples for
You
them.
need those receipts. Oh my God, I
Everything. All
can't
right, yeah,
stress that
I
enough.
like how you said that, receipts. I like that. You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Uh-oh, look at
So
this, Kenny.
I know I
Narcissistic
saw
people are
Kenny's.
everywhere in HR. Oh, Kenny, come on, Jeez, But
But
you were
I
saying?
would tell Margaret, if you don't mind, that
Yeah,
to definitely keep the receipts. And depending on what kind of contractor she is, whether she's HR or not, like I would even go and be so bold to say, to like ask that person,
right,
hey, do you need any coaching? Like I can help you coach you and kind of develop, your help you develop in the career, whatever. Like I would
right.
spin it onto them so that they have that mirror. That's one way of doing it. And then maybe the second way I would do it would be to, let them know your boundaries. Hey, like this is not how I like to
Let me
do
stop you on that
business or
part there.
conduct business.
I read that about boundaries, and here I am. I'm looking at words, and that's a powerful word. To me, a boundary I would thinking that's something at home, being, hey, you're a narcissist, you have boundaries. But in a workplace, what is boundaries in a workplace? Is it the way you're getting spoken to? Is that where you draw the line, or is it the behavior of the person, the OCD of the person, the negative thoughts? Is that what you're saying? Like that?
Well, the boundaries are I
To
think,
you, boundaries to you,
and please, yeah,
right?
for me, and please, if I never went deep into the research behind the word boundaries, but
Right.
for me, it's subjective, right?
That's what
What's
I
a
mean.
boundary for me, it's not a boundary for you, and so it really truly is whatever. If I don't like people near me because of whatever reason, that's a boundary for me. Please give me some space around me.
Right.
Right. And that's like, a small example. But if I don't like the way, if, for example, and again, we spoke about this before this, but your environment and how you grew up is you're a product of
Right.
that, right? So if somebody yelled at me all throughout my life, and then here I have someone yelling at me at work, I'm going to be like, hey, no, let's
That's
not do
your
that,
boundary. That's a
please.
boundary that
Yeah,
you and I
that's my
think
boundary, right? So,
I think it says about confronting a narcissist at work. It says, and the one part I was reading about, and I thought about that. I was like, wow, do you want to confront an artist or a narcissist? But I think if you do something, a boundary, like you're saying, if you have a way of saying it to somebody, I think you can. sometimes at least nip it in the butt in a little bit in the beginning, by saying, "Listen, I don't appreciate," or if you say you're honest with the person, maybe they would back off. But I don't think that means they're going to back off, because the way the narcissists work, the way it looks, I'm like, wow, that's just going to fuel the fire.
No, I totally get that. And, in some severe extreme cases, you have to make that decision.
Right,
Is this enough? Is this narcissistic behavior enough for me to walk away?
right.
And only that person can make that decision, right?
On
If
that
you
part,
can't
yeah, it
live
comes
with
down
that,
to. Mm,
then that's something that you have to talk to. But if it's something that, you can nip it in the bud by being transparent, open communication, that's
right.
great. And if not, I mean, I guess we have to go old school and just ignore them, to the extent that you can. So yeah,
It is.
it's not great. It's not great
No.
dealing with one.
Want to welcome. Was that my eyes tonight? It's Fabric RD Lisa, right? How's that? Is that must be a last name first, or I'm going to say Lisa. I'm going to say Lisa is your first name. All right. Welcome to the show. Kenny says, let's see. Kenny's a part. Let's see. Boundaries do not work with narcissistic people. Oh my God. See that.
It sounds like Ken knows a lot of them.
Well, a lot of it, and I know we're going all over the place. That's what I mean. There's so much that it means to different people. I think we got Rob tonight too. Hey, Rob, there he is. Rob's in the house tonight. He's in Pittsburgh. How you doing, sir? I don't know if you're connected with Rob. He's a great connection to reach out with.
Hi, Rob.
But when you talk about that, especially starting out a new job again, like we were saying for that part, they say persistent undermining of your work or your contributions. So that just must be somebody on your back, just constantly on the back about your workload. The negative impact, this is a big one I thought about. Negative impact on your mental health or well-being. I mean, that's, again, the if
That's
this is allowed in the workplace,
important.
I've never, besides the one I've had, I never saw a lot of it. And some of the traits, I think I got 2 of them. Not like you put little things. There's little, I think everybody can be something this, but not like lack of empathy. That was one of the major things on every single thing I read about, is they have a hard time with lack of empathy.
Yeah, I had this one boss, well, not my direct
Right.
boss, but he used to make all the girls cry. He was so demanding and whatever. And then he wouldn't be able to handle it. Like, oh my God, I can't stand when they cry. Like, I can't. So then stop, like, talk to them like human beings, like, so yeah, that's an extreme, but I've dealt with that in my
Do
life.
you feel that in your field, even in your career, even, and that you need to understand this really when somebody comes to you, understand what that means? Like, you really have to have some training what a narcissist is, right? Because if somebody's coming to you, if you haven't experienced it, you need to feel what they're feeling in a way, like, okay, what's going on with this person, or what's going on, right? I mean, it's not something that you can just say, hey, we're just going to ignore it, or not ignore it, but okay, I'll talk to the person, blah blah blah, because I don't even think that works. It comes, a lot of it says, like, there should be training in all leadership roles. That should be part of the training, and I don't think I've ever seen that in leadership training. And I'm not saying to down any of the companies. I've never seen it in my career, like what a narcissist is.
So no, like I've done workshops and trainings where I
Workshops,
give
there you
like
go.
business etiquette, right? Training and solutions, right? Like,
Right,
don't type in all caps and stuff like that. We're not saying like the narcissist, like the word, and giving example of what it is, but giving examples of what not to do, that will make your colleagues or your coworkers uncomfortable,
right,
feel a certain way, and just overall, make a toxic environment. We don't want to do that.
right.
We want to work where there's harmony, where everybody's productive. They want to come to work. So we try to give the do's and don'ts of those. But narcissists, that's interesting. I wonder if anybody would be open, for that type of
That's
workshop.
what I mean. I didn't know whether, but I believe what yours. I think in your field that it would be a thing, a workshop or something like that would be training versus like what I need the training of what a narcissist is as a leader. You know what I mean? Like as a in stamping or anything, would I need to know that training to recognize it? I don't think so because I think they're not going to be coming to me because if I'm the one doing that. But I did a poll on LinkedIn, and it was one of my highest ever just recently post I've ever
Wow.
seen. It had over like almost 10,000. So I put on there, I wanted to, and then it ran for a whole week. And the question that I had there, yeah, it was on the highest this year and last year than last year. And I forgot to tell you. Okay, so here it is. So I wrote right here. Okay, I would be curious of how the poll does about narcissism. Please share it. Do you believe that narcissism can change over time? 16% said yes, 62% said no, and 22% said maybe. And that was like out of a couple hundred votes and a lot of comments, saying no way, oh hell no. It was some words too.
That is so funny. I
But
love
that was
that.
the
That's
poll.
great.
62% no, 16% yes, that they can change.
So I did do your survey.
You did that?
And I'm,
Okay.
yes, I definitely did. And it was a great survey. And I am one of the ones that responded maybe. And the reason I said maybe is because we are an ever evolving species, right? We have that opportunity to grow. We have that opportunity for awareness, to
Right.
educate ourselves. And I want to be able to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Okay.
So
That's what me. I mean, I would say yes sometimes. I mean, but like I said, I'm not an expert on this And I told you before this, I was like, listen, I am no expert on this. I've only had one. Kenny's like, I missed your poll. And he told and then Kenny said, do you really want to nip on the budget of a narcissist? It's a flavor you will not savor. Yeah, you're right. You're right on that.
that's so
Some of the other
funny.
things it says about HR, and then we'll move on to something else here. Um, I think a lot of it is decide when to escalate it. So I think it comes down to that person of when when is it the right time? Is it just two or one or two things that bother you about a person, or I guess as that person, it's an individual. Your boundaries, again, like you said about boundaries, I think that's when it comes to that person of how much stress and what you want to deal with, about all that and being all confined in that, and then evaluate your company's policies. Review your company policies on workplace behavior, harassment, conflict. Again, I don't recall ever seeing it really in some of the training. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've seen micromanagers, but not narcissists. So I was different on that. So we'll see. But
Well,
and
I
be
mean, I
prepared.
also think that because we all have a bit of narcissism in us, right? I think
Yeah,
it's the spectrum. Like it's such a broad spectrum that it just depends. Like you can be a narcissist and a micromanager,
yeah,
right? Or
yeah,
you can be a narcissist and like a ditz. I don't know. Like I'm just making things up from the top of my head,
yeah.
but I so I'm imagining and I'm assuming that that's why. But then your guess is as good as mine. But it's a great topic, and that's one that I will definitely bring into when I go and I do these workshops. So that's
Yeah,
cool.
and Rob asked, "Why do people think it's necessary to lie to their coworkers? It doesn't get you anywhere." These are the comments. I'm telling you, you. It's a subject that people relate to it. Everybody relates to it. Rob, I never lie. Why am I laughing on? No, but I don't get involved with that stuff anymore. I don't, been there, done it when I was younger. And I'm like, I think you evolve through your career, you know. But I wanted to come back to about the professions that attract narcissists, and we were talking about.
That was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, and the kinds that it was saying, we talked about that, but corporate leadership, it said it's a high-ranking executives, entrepreneurs may exhibit narcissist traits driven by ambition, desire for power, and the need for recognition. That there,
Mm.
recognition is one of the biggest words that I could probably count 500 times out of all these sheets here. Recognition. They want to be recognized. They want to be told they're doing a good job, or something has to be done for that.
Right. I
You know,
mean, I say it goes back to my initial what I'd said before. Like there is a spectrum of narcissism, right? We all have
right?
a bit of narcissism in us. So.
It's like that. And then the next one is politics, politicians. I kind of knew that. I kind of figured that one may display narcissistic characteristics as the
I
role
think
often.
they're the same as celebrities, no?
Yeah, because it says a strong public persona and the desire for influence. And here we go for that word again: control,
Yeah.
control, control, control. That sales and marketing is another field. It says these fields can often
Oh.
reward confidence, charisma. I like that one. You smooth operator, write that song. Traits finally found in narcissists may excel in persuading and influencing others. No, that's under social media influencers. I never would
Okay.
have guessed that. I never would have thought.
Interesting.
Yeah, I never would have thought about that. And there's 3 more. Healthcare professionals. I guess that's your
That's
doctor.
wild.
Yeah, it was number 6. Why many in the healthcare are compassionate, some may exhibit narcissistic traits, particularly in high status roles like surgeons or specialists, because where confidence and authority are critical. But I'll have to watch my TV shows to see if I feel that they have some kind of traits of that. The law, legal professions, especially, and that makes sense, I guess. And academia, a highly competitive academic environment. Some individuals may display some traits there. So academia, that's school, right? Duh.
Yeah. Yeah. I was just thinking about it. I would say so. I would say so, yeah.
So what is your biggest take on like a narcissist? Like how would you tell somebody, like how would you handle, even on a, I guess on a personal basis too? How do how do you deal with one? How would you work with one? How could you sit there and say, "Wow, can I work with a narcissist at work? Can I live with a narcissist?" Like it comes down to your, again, like you said boundaries before, but I wouldn't know what to do.
No, yes. So I would definitely, the thing about HR is that we deal with many different personality types.
Yep.
And so it's learning how to navigate and kind of flow throughout them and be, I like to lead with transparency and directness if I need
Right.
to, but it really just depends on your audience, right? So trainings, active listening, emotional intelligence workshops, building policies that, don't fluctuate. And what I mean about
Right.
that is, some companies like they'll do it for one person and not for the other, but the policy clearly states, this one thing that's neither or, right? So
Right.
it's really staying consistent with everyone, and building that culture of honesty and trust so that that doesn't breed, right?
Right.
Because I'm sure you can relate that when you're in a group setting, right, we tend to mold ourselves in group thought, right? Like,
Right. Okay.
depending on the subject or whatever, but still for the majority, right? Like if we're all working for the same company and here comes company B, we're going to represent this company, even though we're all different, right?
Right.
We're going to like say that our company is the best, whatever, against someone else. So it's a group thought, right? But if you have that group thought that's honest, transparent, they encourage, they support each other, there is no room for that type of behavior. And if there
Right.
is, again, it's very, very low.
Right, and that makes total sense. I think it comes down. I agree with that. Mulfer says he was about to say doctors, and then he also was saying about lawyers and engineers into that conversation as well. And
Okay.
and I agree with that. I mean, again, I wouldn't have thought. I was thinking, well, there's nothing about me there. At least there's nothing about, hey, a person in staffing. It's not like he's a narcissist, or that. But again, the different types. I was even like, they have names for different types of narcissists. So I was like,
Interesting.
what the hell is this? And I'm like, so one of them is a grand. If I'm going to pronounce this stuff wrong, Denosi, Grandiosi narcissist. It's spelled grandiose.
Grandiose.
Yeah, grandiose. Okay. This type
Okay.
of narcissist is usually outgoing, has an exaggerated sense of self-importance, preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited social status, success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Kenny, that's you. Kenny, you are a grandiose narcissist. Well, not narcissist. You're just grandiose because, but I've never heard of that. I didn't even know they labeled them all different ways.
I didn't know that either. I guess I have to do more research on that.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
and then
Okay.
a vulnerable narcissist, as the name implies, this type has fragile self esteem and is easily threatened by criticism or rejection. They may appear shy or introverted, but they can still crave admiration and sympathy from others.
Oh, you see? Yeah, that's the spectrum. It could be bad or it can be good, or
I
it can be really, really bad that it's like not good, but like really bad on the other side. It can be like, toxic or just like
look at
I
that.
don't know.
Look at
It's
Aykroyd.
so funny.
Aykroyd's like grand IOC.
Yeah.
See, she puts it up. Thank you, thank you. I'm not going to say that right. You know, and the other one, they're covert narcissists. This
A
type
secret.
of narcissist is more subtle in their approach to seeking validation. They often appear humble on the surface, but they still have a sense of specialness and deep need for attention.
Hmm. Okay.
I'm not making it up, and there's two more here. Malignant narcissists. A malignant narcissist are some of the most malicious type. They're usually grandiose, cruel, sadistic, and even violent towards others.
There you go. See, that's like the worst of the worst, right?
Now, that is not in the workplace, though. That's something at home. I mean, I wouldn't think you would work for one. Jesus, I
I
mean that's
mean, can't micromanagers sometimes be like that? Or,
yeah.
those managers that
As
like
long as they
to
don't do
yell
violence.
and some companies like allow them to be a certain way because they get things done or they bring in a lot of money. So
Yeah,
they allow that kind of behavior.
yeah,
You've never
I
seen
guess.
that?
Yeah, and the last one is communal narcissist. This type of narcissist may appear to be selfless and giving, but they still have a strong need to be seen as valuable and unique. They often seek validation through their contributions to their community or society. So that, like I said, there's one, two, three, four, five different types of narcissists. So
So let me ask you a question, David.
yeah,
Do you think that just to be narcissistic is just a bad thing, like black and white, or do you think that, like I said, the spectrum being the spectrum, um, is it okay for one over the other, or both of them are
I
just
think
like,
I think I believe. Listen, and I'm not saying this about myself, but some of these little things, I think everybody has something in them, a little bit of it. Like arrogance. I mean, can I be arrogant? Yes. I'm like, but does that mean I'm narcissistic? No, no. Dave's just arrogant. You know what I mean? I think that just comes again as what you're thrown at, what's stuck at you. Let's just give you a label and we're gonna say, hey, you're this or that. And I think we all have. They're saying here negative gossip. Okay. How often has everybody, and I don't care who you are, if you've never said in your life that you've never did negative gossip, you're lying.
that's very true.
That in high school, you remember all that growing up in the younger days but this comes again as like, can that, I guess that does go towards the workplace because that's easy, negative gossip. My God. Whew. But does it mean you're a narcissist if you have if you say negative gossip all the time? Does that label you as that when they're saying that's a sign of narcissism in the workplace? So that and sarcasm, right? I'm sorry, I'm laughing, but some of these I'm like, okay, this is or two-faced. Oh my God, these are people that I know in my life. I think everybody knows somebody that's been two-faced in their life. But does it mean you're narcissism?
I mean, I was gonna say, like, my husband is a Gemini,
Right.
and he's the most sarcastic person in the world. Like, even so that my son, my 8-year-old son, is starting to pick up that little habit, and I'm like, no, 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 be your self. Don't be like your dad. But he's not narcissist. My husband is the
No.
opposite.
Well, Travis, welcome, Travis. Hey, Travis, I've been in a while.
Oh,
He's saying
4%
4% of the
nation.
nation is narcissistic. And I know his facts.
Wow.
He'll pull up. I know it because here he comes up with more. He'll come up with some great facts. I know, guarantee it. Men, or we talked about men, are more likely to exhibit grandiose. Oh, well, there's that word. I'm not going to be able to say it. Narcissism, dominance,
Mhm.
entitlement, inflated
Love
self-image.
it.
Women may show more vulnerable. All right, you're putting it towards what types it is. Okay, hypersensitivity. Okay, that makes sense when you put it like that way.
I love it. I love it. That's great. Thank you, Travis.
Yeah, he's gonna put it all together for you. He'll come up with the
Mm.
perfect. He's from California. He's gonna put it all up there. Kenny's like, I'm always positive gossip. Yeah, right, Kenny. But they were saying that when you say lack of empathy, how could you not have empathy? Like, I think that's got to be like you said, when you're growing up, it's your parents, your upbringing, because they said a lot of boys see their father like that, and they grow up to get those traits because they listen to their father the way they are. And I'm thinking, wow, it starts as a child. They're saying some of that, and I'm like, all right, I don't know what age, but I guess just if you're in a, I guess if they're in a bad situation at home, I guess the kids can take that.
I mean, again, you're a product of your environment, I want to say. But also, those skills need to be taught,
R
you know?
right, but do you start to does that something that you bring up to your child? Is it something that you bring into their life so as they're young? Because you see traits would you see traits in children of that type of behavior? I guess is a good question for that. You
That
know,
is a great question.
like, would you see that? And Flowers, Leslie, hey, Flowers, I saw she liked the post, and, welcome to the show, and then Travis says, "Have fun off to Korean barbecue." I will check this
Give
out
me
for you.
some.
Yeah, right? Thanks,
That's
Travis.
my favorite.
Yeah,
Thanks,
enjoy
Travis.
that. But, let's see, I missed this comment here. "I wish you all brought in an expert on narcissists for this, and astrology has nothing to do with it." Is that what that says? Astrology?
Yeah, not astrology, Margaret. I go by the DISC assessment, so dominance, influential, steadiness, conscientious. It's what I like to know the personality types that I deal with at work, so that I'm able to better communicate with them, and I'm more aware of how they're susceptible to receive the communication. So that's the where I was coming from. But astrology, I was just mentioning my husband.
Okay. Yeah, I that's what I told you. This subject, I when you do a show like this, you get people they'll just start chiming in, and
Interesting.
here's Flowers. Are the children of bullies lean towards narcissism? And that's exactly what I
Mhm.
was talking about. Flowers, like there, can that be as when you see as your children, we all have kids, can you see that in a child like when they're 10, 11, 12? If that bully is a bully, a sign of narcissism for kids, and that's a great point. And I don't even know what this word is, and you're going to be able to say that.
Um, I was trying to look. I think that's a personality
This
exam
anagram.
assessment. I think so. I was just gonna Google it.
Yeah, to see what that
Yeah,
is.
it is.
It
It
is
is. It
okay.
is. It is. Yeah. Thank you, Flowers. I always like new ones. I had a lunch with a colleague today, and she was telling me about the acronym widget that's used
Right.
for disc assessment, or something similar. So I'm going to look that up as well. So thank you. I love assessments.
Nice, nice. Oh, her name is. Let me see. That name is Leslie, not Flower. Oh, you know what? It comes up though. It comes up Flowers first, Leslie. So I think the way this software, I'll have to check this out. How their name is coming up backwards, Leslie Flower.
Yeah,
All right,
instead of putting a comma there.
yeah. Thank you for that, Leslie, because that there comes up the opposite. Um,
But you have a beautiful name, Leslie. I would love to have a name Leslie Flowers, or Jessica Flowers.
yeah, for
Be
that, there
nice.
you go. That sounds great. This is uh, Travis chimed in before he left. Margaret Ackroyd. Now, I saw that name. Or well, she's on here. Narcissistic personality inventory, NPI, and that's one thing I have, or NPD. I thought I have NPD, but NPI, pathological narcissism inventory, PN, and 5 factor. That's what I'm talking about. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not kidding. I got like 30 pages here of how would you pinpoint this? Like the whole conversation is, you know, oh, I'm sorry, Leslie. Let's see. Why are you calling me by my last name? Sorry about that, Leslie. I know it's Leslie Flowers. I think I'm confused on that. But my point there is all these different kinds of names, and I've never heard of them. Never heard of them. I mean, I don't even know where you would get some of the training for this. They talk about lack of empathy, like we said, self absorption, deliberate weakness to elicit sympathy and favor, victimhood, denying personal responsibility, forgetting, stonewalling, procrastination, two faced, backstabbing, professional and social exclusion. There's so many in that factor there. And I
And if
don't know
we're
where to
going
put it.
to bring it back to the workplace, it begins with your hires, right?
Right.
Um,
Oh,
my
I think
goodness.
got some people going back and forth here. Travis,
Yeah.
I get to pull up narcissism
Um,
specific test proves my earlier point.
I'm gonna think Travis was coming out of a place of wanting to help and serve
Yeah,
rather than that. But that's how I choose to look at it.
yeah,
But again, like looking at it from the work lens, definitely we need to make intentional hires. And if
yeah.
we need to, and I'm a stickler for this, personality assessments or workplace assessments that kind of bring out the values of that align the values of the employee or the potential
Yep,
employee with the organizational values. Just overall, it breeds for a bigger ROI. It breeds for a great workplace culture. It really long term does a lot for the organization as a whole than if
right,
you're just desperate hiring. I mean, you know that. Like, I don't
right.
need to tell you that. So
Now, and here's oh, I'm sorry. What did Leslie? She had said I missed that one here. Now I'm going to know their first name first when I put this on here because that was weird how it's going backwards. So it's Daniel Allison. Daniel says here to check it out. I don't know what you had put there, but it doesn't show there. I knew they were all going back and forth in there, and I missed they're gaslight liars, right? And I saw that the gaslight
they do
liars, Leslie.
gaslight. Yes.
Yeah, and these are words that and we're gonna wrap things up here. These are just words because this, I want to do a part two. I want to do it because I didn't do it last time because last time when I did, I told you it was unbelievable, and then the comments that I got afterwards, I was like, whoa, whoa! I'm only doing a podcast now. Easy, girls. Some of the ladies, I was like, easy. I'm not an expert in it, and I don't pretend to be. I just, to me, I just don't. I've never encountered somebody with all these traits like that, but it's a great thing to learn. Don't you agree? I mean, as in your
I
field,
agree.
you got to learn this kind of things to understand where people are coming from.
Yeah, it's very vital to know your team, to know what makes them tick, to know their communication language. It's just for overall teamwork and productivity wise. It's imperative.
And it's too because if you're living at home with a narcissist and then you're going to work with a narcissist, my God, you might as well hang
Life
that
is so bad.
I would just run away.
Yes.
Because again, these words are meanings on some of these things. They're strong, and I'm going to say it again: strong words that mean a lot. And it's I could see where all the negativity comes from, and the everybody probably has one, knows somebody that's been in this kind of a workplace. But for me, for if somebody's going through this, and I'll end with this on myself is that's where, like we talked about, write everything down, put your notes together. If you're having problems, I would nip it in the bud. I wouldn't go through it. That's just my opinion. I would not go through it. Anybody. No way. Nope.
Right. And that's why I say, like, Dave, it's important for either you to communicate to HR.
Right.
And I don't just say that because I'm HR, but it really, they need to know this so that I can nip it in the bud or build policies that kind of build a wall so that, they can't
Yep.
stonewall them essentially, that it doesn't happen. They don't leave that little wiggle room to breed that sort of behavior, or at least let them know it's not tolerated, right?
Right. Yep, and I think
Boundaries.
that's the best thing, the boundaries. That's what I'm gonna learn from you tonight, that one word, boundaries, and it all comes from personal. I think some boundaries of some people are gonna be tougher than the others, because if you've gone through this before, your boundary, I mean, listen, mine's hard. I'm sorry. If you're gonna, I'll nip it right away, and I'll say something to somebody, and I'll be honest the way I say it, because again, can you get away with it? Was saying, can you get away with confronting a narcissist besides going to HR? Do you need to run to HR all the time? For one thing, probably not, but still know your boundaries and what you're going to put up with. And I think if you tell a person how you feel, sometimes that might make that person back off. That's just sometimes with me that, I've had that in my past to where, Dave, you don't listen. You talk a lot. You don't listen. Okay. After I thought about it, I was like, all right, that's when I just stop in a meeting. Stop, listen, and then I talk. I don't try to talk.
Agreed.
Yeah, I don't try to talk over, or I try not to, because there
Then you're not really listening.
you're not listening. You're not listening to other people, because they'll come back to me and say that. They would say that, "You're not listening." And I'm like, "I am listening." And I was just like, but now I know that was part of what I worked on, and I was able to overcome a lot of that. So, but no, we're gonna definitely do part two Tuesday. So please, Leslie, I'm gonna say your first name right. Everybody on the show, I was saying the last name first name last, because the way it comes up. Now our names come up normal on here. That's what I thought, some of the names, and I was like, "Wait a minute here, Travis, Lane," and I'm gonna reach out to the software company tomorrow and say, "Why are your names backwards?" And
That's it.
because
I just had a thought though, Dave.
right,
Sorry to
yeah, go ahead,
backtrack
no,
because that's why like communication and active listening is so important.
yeah,
So, for example, in my experience, I had a person who had a terrible partner and they had gone through a terrible divorce.
right,
And then in the workplace, they were saying that that one of their coworkers was acting out in that same like manner behavior, you know and it wasn't that, their experience kind of, it got them triggered, right? So sometimes you need that outside view
you,
to kind of lens to let you know, hey, maybe it's like something that you're not over because this person doesn't behave that way. It's just them, like, making a joke, or just, that's just the way they are. Um, Again, because I was HR and because I
right,
knew both separately, I was able to diffuse that by seeing both points of view, and that's very important. So communicate. It starts with
communicate.
communication, is what
Yeah,
I'm
and
trying to
on
say.
top of that, I agree. So, all right, young lady. Well, thanks everybody for coming on the show
Thank
tonight.
you
So
for having me.
Tuesday it'll be part two, and maybe maybe we can try to reach out to somebody that even knows a lot about the subject. Also, we can bring them on.
That
So
would
if
be
anybody
lovely.
knows somebody that's very, really knows a lot about this topic, listen, I'll have them on the show. I think it's a great way to. It's a great discussion overall, because I learned a lot tonight. Didn't realize how many different names there was and all this, and I'm like, wow, forget this, man. I used my whole yellow marker up
It's a
of,
dicey topic,
of
for
going like
sure.
that. So, all right, young lady, I will talk to you after the show here, and everybody have a great night. All right, here
Bye,
we go.
everyone.
Bye bye. And now I got to find. Here we go, David. Find your video. There it is.